flight computers will take over to the launch countdown. There you go. LOX load in stage 1 is complete. Counting down to T0 at about T-2, the Merlin 1D engines will light for liftoff.
The vehicle continues to be healthy, and Falcon 9 team is tracking no issues. Currently, the weather is green, and the range is ready to support a T0 at 4:55 p.m. Eastern Time. We have a 90% probability of launch today based on weather, and in these last few minutes, Falcon 9 is performing the final health checks on its primary communications, avionics, and propulsion systems in preparation for flight. We'll have that LOX load call out complete here shortly.
Stage 2 LOX load complete.
With stage 2 LOX load complete, that gets us inside the 2-minute marker to countdown. Checkouts on the second stage thrust vector control have passed. We'll get to engine gibbling and wiggle test on the first stage much closer before ignition. At the time of launch, the International Space Station will be flying 260 statute miles over the border of Mexico and Guatemala.
Now, we are just about 20 seconds from T-1 minute where the Falcon 9 will be in startup and the onboard flight computers will take control of the countdown. Dragon will also transition to internal power at this time.
Falcon 9 is in startup.
We are now in startup.
Dragon is in countdown.
And Dragon is in countdown. Range remains go for launch, waiting for that final go from the SpaceX launch director.
SpaceX launch director, go for launch.
You heard that call out. The launch director has given that final go. All systems are go for launch of Falcon 9 and the CRS-30 mission.
Do you want 30 seconds? Seconds. T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, ignition, and liftoff as Dragon returns to Space Launch Complex 40.
Three tons of science and cargo take flight on NASA's SpaceX 30th Commercial Resupply Services mission. Falcon 9 at 1.7 million pounds of thrust. Pitching downrange, hearing good calls of performance. Nominal trajectory as Falcon 9 and Dragon arc out to the northeast.
Falcon 9 has successfully lifted off from Slick 40 at Cape Canaveral Space Force Station. And during ascent, we will tilt or gimbal our engines, guiding the rocket into what we call a gravity turn. Through this turn, the vehicle is flying both up and horizontally away from the launch pad. Now, this rocket typically needs to go about 17,500 miles per hour horizontally in order to make it to orbit and avoid being pulled back down to Earth. So moments ago, we did throttle the engines down in preparation for max Q, or maximum aerodynamic pressure, in just a couple seconds.
Max Q.
There was that call out for max Q. And coming up, we have a few events in quick succession, starting with main engine cutoff, followed by stage separation, second engine startup 1, and the start of the boost back burn for the first stage.
MVAC is chilling.
There's the call out. The MVAC engine on the second stage is chilling in, getting ready for startup. Now, the first of these events is main engine cutoff, or MECO, where the 9 Merlin 1D engines on the first stage will shut down in preparation for stage separation, which is where stage 1 and 2 will separate from each other, with the first stage making its way back down to Earth and the second stage performing second engine start 1, which is where we ignite that single Merlin vacuum engine on board the second stage. Now, the boost back burn will then start on the first stage. This burn helps assist the vehicle flip back around and reorient itself back to land. MECO starting in just a couple seconds.
MECO.
Stage separation confirmed.
Back condition.
There you heard and saw around as it performs its boost back burn. Again, we had main engine cutoff of the first stage separation, second engine start on the second stage, and that first stage doing the awesome flip as it starts its boost back burn. Now this burn is a little under a minute, so we have about 20 seconds left in this burn. And about 3 minutes after that, we will have 2 additional burns on the first stage to prepare to land back at landing zone 1 at Cape Canaveral. We are at T plus 3 minutes and 30 seconds here in today's mission. CRS-30 is SpaceX's. There's that confirmation for the boost back shutdown of the first stage and a nominal trajectory. As again, CRS-30 is SpaceX's 27th launch this year, and we are coming up on the entry burn of the first stage as well as second engine cutoff. On those live views of the first stage, you can see the attitude control system creating those beautiful puffs of white gas, and that's nitrogen from the cold gas thrusters of the attitude control system. And around T plus 6 minutes and 30 seconds, you should see on your screen the first stage's entry burn. And for the entry burn, we relight 3 of the M1D engines on the first stage, starting with the center engine 9, followed shortly by engines 1 and 5, which slows the vehicle down as it passes back into the Earth's atmosphere. We need to slow down to reduce re-entry forces, which helps us to recover and reuse the first stage. In second stage, on the right, you can see beautiful views of the Earth in the background and that Merlin vacuum engine heating up as it performs its burn. Again, we are a little over a minute to the start of our first stage entry burn.